I decided to stay full-time with my grandparents because I didn't want to follow rules set by my dad's girlfriend. For most of my life, it was split between my dad and my grandparents. He had legal custody, but Grandpa Walt and Grandma Joan took me for days at a time whenever his job as a foreman ran late. I never felt shuffled around. Both houses ran the same way. Homework before the TV went on. Dishes rinsed right after dinner. Nobody yelled about anything. My dad was still my dad in every way that counted. We had our Friday burger nights. He came to my basketball games even when he was running on 4 hours of sleep. Last October, he started dating a woman named Denise. She seemed fine at first, polite, put together, always asking about my grades, but she ran her house like a small business. Chore charts on the fridge, phones in a basket during meals. A rule that said family helps family, no exceptions, even if it means canceling your own plans. In March, my dad sat me down at the kitchen table with his hands wrapped around a coffee mug he wasn't drinking from. "I'm moving in with Denise," he said. "I want you there too, but her house runs on her rules. She's been really clear about that." "What does that mean exactly?" I asked. "It means you treat her rules like you'd treat mine, or your grandparents. She'll be the one enforcing things day to day." I sat with that for a second. "I don't want to do dinner every single night with people I barely know. I don't want someone else's rules for how I live. I know it's a lot," he said, "but it's happening either way." I didn't think it was fair to ask him to wait on his own life just because I didn't like her rules. So instead, I called Grandma Joan that same night. She didn't even hesitate. "Of course, honey," she said. "Your room's still here." Dad was hurt when I told him. He got quiet, then said he'd make sure we still had our time together. I moved my stuff into my old room at my grandparents' place 2 weeks later. It smelled like the same fabric softener it always had. Nothing there had changed. I figured that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Denise started texting me a schedule. Dinner Wednesdays at 6, at her house, where I was supposed to help cook alongside her 2 kids, even though my dad usually wasn't home from his job site until 7:30 anyway. Then she added Sunday family time, some planned thing with board games and a big lunch. I work Sundays at the hardware store, so that was already impossible. But she kept adding me to the group text like I'd be there. Then her niece needed help moving into a new apartment 2 towns over. Denise texted the whole family, including me. "Everyone's expected," she wrote. "Cancel whatever you've got. Family shows up for family." I told her I had work and couldn't make it. She called me instead of texting. "You live under this family's roof," she said. "This is what we do." "I don't live under your roof," I said. "I live with my grandparents." There was a long pause. "That's exactly the attitude I'm talking about." I hung up. Grandma Joan had heard the whole thing from the kitchen table. She looked over her glasses at me and said, "She's trying to run a house you don't even sleep in." A week later, my dad's sister, my Aunt Carol, came by with a casserole and let something slip while Grandma was pouring coffee. Denise had a son from her first marriage, older, maybe 25 now, who hadn't spoken to her in 3 years. Same story, same rules. He moved out at 18 and never came back for a single holiday. "She does this," Carol said quietly. "She did it to him too." That landed different than anything else had. This wasn't new behavior aimed at me. It was a pattern with a body count of 1 relationship already. Denise brought it up again at Easter, in front of my dad, my grandparents, and Carol, right there at the table with the ham half carved. She said I wasn't showing her the respect she deserved, that choosing to live apart from my own father over a few house rules was bratty. "You're not my parent," I told her. "You don't get to demand the same respect where I don't even live." Her face went tight. "I've done nothing but try to include you. You've done nothing but tell me what I'm required to do in a house I don't sleep in," I said. My dad set his fork down. He looked at Denise for a long moment, then at me, then back at her. "She's 17, he said. "Not one of your kids, not your employee. If you can't let this go, I'm the one who's going to have a problem staying." Denise's mouth opened, then closed. She didn't say anything else the rest of dinner. She left before dessert, car door slamming hard enough that Grandma flinched. Dad drove me back to my grandparents that night instead of going home to Denise's. He sat on the porch steps with me for an hour, not saying much, just there. It was the first Sunday in months he hadn't been at her house by curfew. I'm moving to Spotify. Search LomuStories and follow.